Nation, nation of cobras, all the cobras in one place finally. It's the end of the cobras, the end of the nation. The nation has died because the cobras have eaten it. Cobra Kai Nation.
That's the 2.0.
Who are we? Yeah! I said, who are we? Yeah!
We needed to get back to you. We requested getting back to you. No, we missed you at other times.
I missed you guys at the premiere, but it was hectic.
I know, it was insane.
Great to see you again, Mr. Schlossberg.
Josh is rolling up as well.
Rolling up.
Cobra Kai Nation, nation of cobras, all the cobras in one place finally. It's the end of the cobras, the end of the nation. The nation has died because the cobras have eaten it. Cobra Kai Nation.
That's the 2.0. I love that. Yeah, you guys, wow, you really stuck the landing with the show. Honestly, I was obviously on set of episode 15, and I got to see you guys direct, and, you guys must have been, buzzing so much to stick the landing with Johnny Lawrence. Please run me through the inner fan and the inner child of you guys, because that was a lifetime achievement.
I mean, the inner fans and us were just Zabka heads from the beginning.
I remember the fan base.
Yes, you know about that. So we were very determined from the beginning of this show to show William Zabka's talents and to give Johnny Lawrence a true redemption on the show, and to bring Johnny and Daniel together after all these years. That was all what we were thinking about. That final fight was surreal to be there. We got to be there on the red mats. We were there on the red mats. Daryl may not have been happy, but he admitted that they looked pretty good. But we were thrilled to be on that mat, to direct that fight, to have Louis Tan, who was an amazing adversary, to have that final fight. That was one of the hardest things, was finding somebody who was worthy of fighting, and Sensei Wolf was certainly worthy of that final fight. But that whole episode for us was the culmination of what we set out to do in the beginning. Not every day do you get to finish what you started in television, to do 65 episodes with your favorite characters, and to bring them all to the big fist-pumping, happy 80s style ending. I mean, we are thrilled that we got to do it, and we're thrilled that the audience received it the way we wanted them to.
For sure. And I think as timeless as the Karate Kid films, Cobra Kai is forever timeless. I want to ask you guys, I don't know if you're allowed to say, but by the end of the year, will we have an official announcement or an update on what's coming with the Miyagi-verse, or are we really going to have to wait a while?
We hope so. We're working on stuff, but it has to be the right timing. There are multiple things that have to happen officially before you can make an official announcement. So, our hope is that it's sometime, not too soon this year, but there's no guarantees, So if it's the end of the year and it hasn't happened, it's not because we're not in the background trying to make something happen.
Right. And one thing I really do want to quickly talk about is Kreese and Silver. Now, sticking the explosion on that was insane. And I know when I saw that in the premiere for the first time, I don't know if you guys heard me, but I generally said, what the F? So loud. It was just it's that classic 80s style of death. But yeah, run me through that process and just being able to do that for those two.
Well, I mean, they're classic 80s characters, and they're classic 80s villains, and they deserve a classic 80s death. And when we constructed the end of Kreese, it was always going to be sacrificing himself for Johnny in some way or another. And as we entered the second half of the series, Silver became more and more not a one-season big bad, but the ultimate big bad. The big bad in Kreese's life, the big bad in everybody's life. And Kreese has done so many terrible things that the only way for him to finally have some redemption in the audience's eyes is to do the right thing and make it so Johnny doesn't have to deal with that devil ever again. And in that moment that you would think we're going to take you to this cliffhanger where, oh my God, they're going to kidnap Carmen, kidnap the baby. We're going to be dealing with our emotional baggage of that during the finale. Nope, we're going to have Kreese swoop in like some dark superhero and fight Silver to the death and almost get strangled to death himself, and then use that cigar, which actually entered the show only seconds before he did, and let it be the last thing you see of them as that boat explodes into a million pieces. It was a lot of mechanics went into making that happen, from we need a boat, and we need to pay for a boat, and we need to pay for a day at sea off the coast of Santa Monica, and none of those things are cheap. And then we need to manufacture a realistic explosion. Every part of that was a fight, and it was a fight that we had thankfully 6.5 seasons of fights in us to strengthen those muscles to make.
And just quickly, one missed opportunity for you individually that you do wish you got with Cobra Kai. I know you guys literally go to war for everything you want in the show, and you always say you're very ambitious for your budget, and we've still got a great show, but what was one thing for you individually that was missed?
I mean, the biggest, and this was not a budget thing, it was not getting to work with Chad McQueen. I mean, that was the biggest missed opportunity. It was something that it wasn't for lack of trying. We talked about it even season 2, we tried to make it happen. We tried to bring him in there in season 2, and at that stage in his life, he hadn't acted in a very long time. He had some health problems, had some race car issues that, led to him not being really comfortable and ready to come back. And then as the years went on, he started to see sort of how special this show was, and he had such love for William Zabka and this franchise that he was like, by the end, he was like, I really want to do this. So before the season, we traveled out, the three of us took a 2.5-hour car ride to Palm Desert where he lived, and we sat with him and his family, and he was funny, and he was cool, and he was a badass, and he was everything. Dutch was like our favorite character outside of Johnny because he was so
amped. I loved it.
Yeah, he was so harsh and so raw and so pure Cobra Kai that the idea of taking that character and bringing him into our series and having some fun with him would have been amazing. But by the time, and he had agreed to do it this final season, but by the time we were shooting, he was unfortunately not well enough to join us. So that's the missed opportunity for me.
I guess, the Julie Pierce character from Next Karate Kid, we did have, some plans. We knew early enough that wasn't going to happen, that we were, not really preparing for that. But, much like Karate Kid 3, we like the idea of taking, some stuff from the Next Karate Kid and, playing with it and giving it purpose and breathing some life into those characters. But, it wasn't meant to be. And, our hope is, who knows, maybe if we get a chance to do a spin-off or something else, that character's still alive and we could do something. There are a lot of things that, from season 1 and every season that you just find out you're not going to have the budget to do. You can't have this song. You're not going to be able to use this location. All these different compromises that you have to make that the audience never knows. And our attitude is just always, okay, this is what's meant to be. What do we actually have to play with here? And let's play with that. We did that every season. But, doesn't mean that we can't play with those characters in some sort of way, in the future. But we know in our minds what could have been.
You reminded me, one other big missed opportunity was when we sold the show, we remember telling our families, we're going to finally shoot something in Los Angeles, because over the years we've shot elsewhere. Atlanta was amazing, and we loved our crew there. We loved loved the city, so we did fall in love with Atlanta more and more. But a missed opportunity for us was making the Valley even more of a character in the series. There are so many classic restaurants and bars and locations, some of which you got to see little tastes of, even in those final couple episodes when Johnny and Daniel are driving. But to be able to have filmed scenes in some of those locations, bring the texture of the Valley even more front and center, that's another thing that we would have loved to do. But you don't get everything you want when you're making entertainment in Hollywood. And had we had that opportunity, we wouldn't have had that second home in Atlanta that we love so much.
Right. So I know you guys have to shoot off. Can we get a quick Polaroid? All three of us?
Of course,
All
let's
four
do
of
it.
us.
Sorry, I'll pop back in. I'm just dealing with family.
No worries.
I'm going to put 3 together. I'm going to go Gilmore Girls, Sons of Anarchy, and
Gerard is printing. He's like, oh. It's great to see you guys. Thank you.
Really great to see you. I'll get one of these. I'm trying to make sure I